So Rachel Millward, the Greens deputy leader, was on LBC last night, and she reinforced exactly why the Green Party is still completely unelectable and frankly lunatics. Now, I could sit here for 3 hours picking apart everything she said, because everything that comes out of her mouth is usually complete drivel. But for the sake of time, we'll just focus on her most brain-dead takes. And honestly, there's only so much I can listen to in one sitting from any Green Party politician before I want to check myself into a mental hospital, because it's such nonsense that I start to question if I'm actually the one that's going crazy. So the Greens have been busy little bees over the past couple of weeks, haven't they? Zach Polanski's been tweeting out his preferred method of relocating Nigel Farage off the planet. One of their councils declared itself a borough of sanctuary, saying they will not enforce immigration laws. And their favourite economist, Gary's Economics on YouTube, has quit his channel after he made a documentary on Channel 4, accidentally exposing himself for being a complete fraud who actually knows nothing about economics.
I am quitting, yeah, I am quitting.
Quitting public conversation?
Yeah, I am, yeah. Because I'm tired, Paddy. I've been doing this for years, you know. I'm tired of betting on people's living standards collapsing and trying to tell people every year and getting called a liar by liars and getting called an idiot by idiots. It's tiring, Paddy, you know.
Implementing a 1% tax on wealth over £10 million and 2% on £1 billion would raise around £15 billion per year.
So my proposal is a 2% tax on wealth of above £10 million.
Absolute populist claptrap, and the people pushing this should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, it must be very tiring when you build an entire YouTube channel based on the fact that you're a, quote, real economist, and you're so convinced of that fact, you make a documentary for the telly where you meet real economists, then they proceed to laugh you out the room because really, you're just a George Soros-funded grifter. Yes, it all sounds very tiring. Oh well, see ya.
Right, let's start off with a WhatsApp question from Alexa. No, not that one. Do you think undocumented men should be allowed to wander around freely from army buildings in which they've been placed? And should they be allowed access to services that everyone else struggles to access? Rachel, you represent an area of East Sussex that has a centre for migrants in Crowborough, and I guess this is a subject that a lot of your constituents are concerned about.
Mm-hmm. So yes, we have an army training camp in Crowborough that the Home Office is using to accommodate asylum seekers. And
oh yeah, Rachel loves all the doctors and engineers in her local military barracks.
What struck me most actually is the stories from the Home Office staff of the asylum seekers in other sites. They're talking about surgeons and doctors and lawyers.
That's why she sent a letter opposing them. I suppose she loves asylum seekers just as long as they're not near her.
Asylum seekers are allowed to come and go as they please by law. They're not detained. They can't be tagged. They're not criminals. They're not illegal. That is, by international law, it's a legal right to come and seek asylum here. That's what they're doing, and they're waiting for their claims to be processed.
They are illegal. If you want to claim asylum, you do it through a legal route, not break into the country from France on a dinghy.
And so there is just there would be no way of stopping that. I can also tell you many stories of integration where the men in that particular camp I know there's like about 100 Christians there who go to local churches in Crowborough. There are Muslims who are sort of connecting with nearby mosques. There are people who are going into the community. There are people who are volunteering across our area, whether it's on farms or various different projects. There's also a group of volunteers. There's actually a couple of hundred volunteers who signed up to basically provide activities for asylum seekers, because the Home Office doesn't really do that. And it's incredibly important. We don't have the right to work, that you have good things to do. And one of the things they do is go on lovely walks on the Ashdown Forest. Pooh Bear's Forest is right there. And people are having a really wonderful time with that kind of cross-cultural exchange. So it's not all the kind of...
Oh, well, isn't that lovely? Everyone goes to work for 8 hours a day while these men get free accommodation, free food, free healthcare, a free dentist, spending money, and have a wonderful time in the community while native Brits die homeless on the street. How wonderful.
So what can be done to alleviate people's fears? Because there have been incidents, I suppose there was always bound to be. If you've got a group of X thousand young men, there are always going to be unfortunate incidents, whether it's sort of a relatively normal type of crime or sexual violence. What can be done to reassure people that these are very much not the norm?
I mean, one thing is just to share real information, so real statistics. Stop sort of, the press attention on any negative story far outweighs any of the positive stories that we could tell. It's why I mentioned some of the experience of the volunteers, because people don't, what comes to mind isn't a group of people going on a lovely hike or getting involved in some volunteering, and yet
Oh yeah, just cover it up. People won't be frightened if they don't know it's happening. What an absolutely absurd and disgraceful comment. This is why they hate social media, by the way. You see, they don't care whether these people are actually criminals or not. They just want you to think that they aren't, and they can't manage perceptions if you have the free flow of information. These people are genuinely insane. I mean, is it just brainwashing? Like, what possesses people like Rachel Millward to continue with their insane leftist agenda of trying to destroy our country with infinity immigrants? Why do they spend every waking moment backstabbing their own native brothers and sisters and putting the rights of foreigners in front of us? Is it money? Ideology? Like, I just don't understand it. It's truly astonishing to me.
Involved in some volunteering, and yet you talk to people who are in around the Napier camp, and some of the community kind of really miss all that volunteer force that they had in the community, and actually they did have a valuable cultural exchange over time. And that, it's about connection, and it's about the stories that we tell. And we are in a situation where the national narrative is just demonising asylum seekers and blaming immigrants for our problems, whether that's housing or whatever it is, jobs, health.
But if the media didn't report some of these incidents, like the one in Epping, for example, where 2 young girls were sexually assaulted, I mean, if we don't report them, then we get accused of covering it up.
No, it's about proportionality, I suppose. But perhaps more important is the blame that's going on, and the kind of, we are in a situation where scapegoating is happening. So, violence against women and girls isn't an immigration problem. It's not a problem that belongs to migrants. It's a problem right across our society.
Well, it is,
a woman is killed every 5 days.
But some of them are coming from countries where attitudes to women and girls, should we say, aren't the same as ours, generally.
I mean, as I say, in this country, a woman is killed often by her partner or her ex-partner every 5 days. If we want to talk about attitude to women and girls, I think we have to start there.
This is just pure gaslighting, a tactic leftists love to fall back on because they know what they support is indefensible. Has violence towards women and girls always been a problem in England? Yes, it has. It's a problem everywhere on the planet. But to bring up violence caused by our own native scumbags as an excuse as to why we should accept that behaviour from people who we never even voted for or consented to be in the country in the first place is despicable. It's also a distraction from the problem we're talking about, and it's totally dishonest. I'm frankly amazed people still come up with this nonsense as a serious argument as to why we shouldn't discuss migrant crime. Every country has their own criminals, and we have plenty of our own, which is all the more reason not to import, as an example, Afghanis, who according to the Ministry of Justice, are 20 to 22 times more likely to be arrested for sexual assaults compared to the white British population. It's just astonishing. But anyway, please let me know what you think about this in the comments, and thanks for watching.